Kings rookie Keegan Murray's team is victorious in the Rising Stars tournament thanks to his game winner, and that's the only context that matters from the Rising Stars Challenge. A fun first day covering NBA All-Star Weekend here in Salt Lake City. You're listening to the Locked On Kings podcast.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for another episode of Locked On Kings.
Hello and welcome into Locked On Kings, your podcast hub for Sacramento Kings coverage all regular season long. Today presented by FanDuel. It's the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. My name is Matt George. I have the privilege of being your host here. I'm a Sacramento sports reporter and producer for ABC 10 News. I'm here at the very top of Vivint Arena in Salt Lake City, Utah. You can see a little bit of a glare in the glass, but you can see the cityscape behind me. This is my first time in Salt Lake City, first time covering the All-Star Game. I'm having an absolute blast. Vivint Arena is gorgeous. Now, it's no Golden One Center. Golden One Center is still superior in every way, in my very biased opinion. But Vivint Arena, gorgeous arena. It's been very hospitable so far, and we're just kicking things off now that we got to experience the Rising Stars Challenge here inside the arena. And I spent time also at the University of Utah, where the media availability and practice for the Rising Stars teams was earlier today. I'm going on about a 14-hour day right now. Not that I'm complaining. It's been a fantastic day, and it's going to get even more chaotic tomorrow. I'll tell you about that more later on in the podcast. But Keegan Murray's team, Team POW, which was the stacked team to begin with, featuring not just Keegan Murray, but Paolo Banchero, Jaden Ivey, Benedict Mathurin, Scotty Barnes, just to name a few. Like, either Pau Gasol cheated in his draft, or he's the greatest general manager of all time, because he put together an extremely stacked roster. They were the favorites to win, and they absolutely deserve to be so. They backed that up with the sweep of the tournament, winning both of their games. Now, one game was a lot more important than the other simply because Keegan Murray was a lot more impactful, and that was in the first game. The way the format worked is Team POW took on Team Darren Williams in Game 1, and it was whoever scores 40 points first wins. No clock, just whoever scores 40, that's it. And then the other two teams, which was Team Joakim Noah versus Team Jason Terry, they played until 40, and then the final game was to 25. Well, the first game, where Kings rookie Keegan Murray and Team POW defeated it was Team Darren Williams, Keegan Murray only made one basket. Now, actually, for the entire Rising Stars Challenge, Keegan Murray only made one basket, but that basket was the game-winning three to secure the 40 points to punch Team POW's ticket to the next round. I have a couple bones to pick, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. 3 things that bothered me about tonight's Rising Stars Challenge, and I'll get on my soapbox in a very tiny bit. It's not that serious, but something that I definitely want to poke fun at more than anything else. But Keegan Murray, for the entire Rising Stars Challenge, like I mentioned, just one basket, 3 points. He went 1 of 4 from the field, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Of course, his team went on to defeat, I think it was Team Terry in the finals, and Keegan didn't even take a shot, and he barely played. Overall, he played 10 minutes of basketball if you take into account both games, and in those both games, 3 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 of 4 from the field. Nothing flashy. Certainly wasn't in the running to win the Rising Stars MVP, but still put on a show, hit that big shot. It was really cool to see Kevin Huerter and Domantas Sabonis supporting him, sitting courtside. Actually, it's very similar to when Sabonis, Kevin Huerter, and a couple other Kings, Davion Mitchell, when they were sitting courtside in Summer League at Las Vegas when Keegan Murray hit that big game tire to send that first game to overtime against Paolo Banchero and the Orlando Magic. This time, Keegan and Banchero were teammates, and that's a lethal combination, plus those other names on that roster that led to the win. But after the game, we spoke with Keegan Murray. Keegan spoke about having Kevin and Domas courtside, what that support meant to him. And also, you're going to hear here a pretty fun quote from Keegan where he's talking about what he expects out of Domas on All-Star Sunday based off of what Domas was demanding from him sitting courtside tonight.
It was sweet. I didn't think any of them were going to show up, but just seeing them walk in, I saw them right away, and Domas was waving to me with 2 hands. So it was fun to see them and interact and talk with them, especially on this break. And I'm excited to watch them Saturday and Sunday, and also Fox.
Thinking back to the two of them being courtside for Summer League, your Summer League debut, has the dynamic changed between them sitting courtside and you, or is it kind of the same two guys, same difference?
I mean, I don't really talk to them when they're courtside at Summer League, to be honest. So I feel like that just shows how much our relationship's grown since then, and just I guess how our team's grown since then. I feel like that dynamic is why we've had success so far this year, and why our culture is really good right now.
Say anything to Domas and Fox about going into Sunday? I mean, you want one of those guys to kind of go for the MVP and kind of be a little greedy in that game?
I mean, Domas was yelling at me, so I expect a triple-double. I expect him to shoot threes because he was telling me to shoot threes and stuff like that. So if he's trying to get me out of my comfort zone, he needs to get out of his comfort zone. I feel like hopefully he'll do that. So I'll be tuned in.
Okay, I got 3 bones to pick with the Rising Stars Challenge tonight. Number 1, if you watched on TV, you would have heard and seen the introductions. They have this whole gorgeous, elaborate stage where they introduced each of the Rising Stars competitors. And when they were going through Team POW, they got to Keegan Murray. And I think it had to have been a mistake because the PA announcer introduced Keegan Murray. They usually list off like their skill sets or what they're known for, just kind of a brief summary about them as a player, right? The summary for Keegan Murray was a versatile defender who can also protect the rim. The best three-point shooter in this entire rookie class, on pace to break like 3-point records as a rookie. His game was summed up as a versatile defender and a rim protector, which I'm all for. Keegan being made out to look like a great defender, and hopefully he can turn into a great defender one day. That's certainly not the strength of his game, but whatever, regardless, if fans think that Keegan Murray is a good defender, that's fine. I wish he was a rim protector because that would solve a lot of problems for the Sacramento Kings. He absolutely is not, but either way, like, there's the joking part of me that's like, that's silly, come on, like, who didn't do their homework? And then there's that tiny itty-bitty part of me that's like, I'm kind of insulted for Keegan because if you just watched him play or watched a mixtape or, I don't know, just looked at stats or a box score, you would see how good of a three-point shooter he is. It's pretty easy to identify Keegan's primary skill as an NBA rookie so far. It's his three-point shot. But, you know, okay, that's bone number 1. Again, none of these are that serious. Bone number 2, Keegan Murray had a stacked team, right? They didn't really pass the ball much. Now, Keegan passed the ball a decent amount, but playing with Paolo Banchero, you can tell Paolo is used to playing with an Orlando Magic squad. That not that he doesn't have good teammates like Franz Wagner, and I like that Orlando Magic squad, but when Paolo wanted to score, Paolo scored. And I know it's an all-star game. It's a glorified game of pickup. Nobody really cares. Again, this is all silly nitpickiness, but I would like to see Paolo Banchero and Jaden Ivey and Scotty Barnes pass the ball to Keegan Murray a little bit more, but hey, when Keegan did get the ball, at least he made the most out of his game winner in Game 1. That's number 2. And then when it comes to the third bone to pick, I didn't write it down, and I've completely forgotten it. Like I said, I'm on a 14-hour day with not too much sleep last night from the travel, so forgive me a little bit. If I'm going to think of that third bone when I either hit publish on this podcast or when my head hits the pillow tonight, and then I'll be pissed off, and maybe I'll tweet it out or something like that if you care that much. But in all seriousness, overall, like an incredibly fun day. I'm going to fill you in here in the next segment on what I did to start the day and what I spent the majority of the day doing. But to be here at All-Star Weekend, now this is definitely the most ho-hum of the events with the exception of the celebrity game that was also played today. But it was a decent crowd. Like the loudest they got was when they were supporting like a couple Jazz players and a former Jazz player, like when Darren Williams was put on the screen and stuff like that. But overall, pretty kind of ho-hum day. Like I did see actually a lot of Kings fans, a good amount of Kings fans, including a young man, and I wish I'd stopped him, but I was doing TV work at the time. He was wearing a Keegan Murray jersey. Half of it was a Iowa State or University of Iowa jersey. And the other half was a Sacramento Kings jersey, which I thought was really, really cool. Great Kings fan presence. I'm looking forward to seeing how it ramps up. Of course, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night with Kevin Huerter competing in the three-point contest, and I'm very much looking forward to All-Star Sunday to hopefully see De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis put on a show. But coming up next, I'm going to share with you what I did the first half of today, getting involved in the media scene and in practice for the Rising Stars Challenge. And you're going to hear from not just Keegan Murray, you're going to hear from a lot of these rookies and second-year players, a lot of these Rising Stars, and they're going to talk a lot about Keegan, talk a lot about the Kings fans, talk a lot about the beam, so stay tuned for that. Like I said, tonight's episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is brought to you by FanDuel, and we have reached the midpoint or over the midway point of the NBA season. It's the perfect time for you to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. So you place a bet. If you lose that bet, you can get up to $1,000 in free bets. Bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scores and threes drained. You can even bet on All-Star Saturday and All-Star Sunday if you do so in time. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. All right, so my day started a very chilly 8 a.m. here, 7 a.m. Sacramento time, and we headed, myself and my partner Kevin John, headed to the University of Utah. Gorgeous campus, snowy, hilly, cold campus, but very, very nice. Went to their arena there, and below the arena, we got the opportunity to get into a massive room where they brought out all the Rising Stars and different stations, and Kevin and I just tried to go to as many as we possibly could and talk to them. You're going to hear in this order, sorry audio listeners, it's going to be kind of tough to identify them sometimes, but you're going to hear in this order. First is Keegan Murray, then you're going to hear from Paolo Banchero, you're going to hear from Scotty Barnes, you're going to hear from Jaden Ivey, and you're going to hear from NBA journalist Mark Spears, who was the original national media member to start to believe in the Kings, and he said at the beginning of this year that he believed the Kings were going to be a playoff team, and so far he's been proven right, or hopefully he will be proven right when we get to a couple of months from now. But you're going to hear from the five of them talking about Keegan Murray, talking about the beam, talking about fans and the fan support. So I think you'll really enjoy what all these Rising Stars and Mark Spears had to say.
I mean, I feel like it's really special. I mean, even when you first land here, just being at All-Star Weekend, I mean, you see it a lot. I saw it a lot when I was a kid growing up, so this is a cool moment for me and my family to cherish together. So there's a lot of guys that are in the green room that are here now, so I feel like that's pretty cool. When you look back on it, that was like, 8 months ago or something like that, so it's pretty cool to see a lot of guys and a lot of familiar faces, and I feel like it'll be cool, especially on our team. We have a lot of rookies, so it'll be fun to go out and play with them. It's a break to get away from your team, get away from basketball, and just kind of enjoy yourself. So, I mean, the competitive nature is always going to be there, but I mean, I feel like everyone's here to have fun. So.
Yeah, no, he's been shooting the lights out. He's on a very good team. The Kings are very good. They're in the playoff. I don't know what seed they are, but they're high up. So he's been a big part of that, and so that's impressive, I think, for a rookie to, contribute to a playoff team right away. And yeah, I mean, he's been killing it, so I'm excited for him. The beam, I wasn't very happy after we lost and they lit it, so I'm not gonna say I really liked it, but nah. I mean, my mom played in Sacramento for the Monarchs, and so she had a connection with the city, and that was my first time playing out there, so it was a cool experience.
Keegan Murray, he's a great talent. Shoots the ball really well. So I remember when we played him, it was just don't really let him get a easy look. They have a lot of good players on their team. He blends in really well with that team. They're doing something special over there, for sure, this year. I remember when we played there, their crowd was crazy. They got an amazing fan base, and it was crazy.
I've been watching them a lot. We played them, 3 times? We've played them a lot. So, yeah, just he always plays the right way. Great, good defender, good teammate, got a lot of good players around him, and he just fits with them really well. And his shooting ability, his ability to defend multiple positions, he'll be a great player in this league for a long time. So I've been watching him. He's good.
I kind of just playing against him in college. Just a great scorer, great feel for the game. Just with his height, The way he can move off screens, the way he cuts. He plays with a great pace. So I kind of noticed that in college, and what he's bringing to Sacramento, he's bringing a winning mindset. He's playing winning basketball for them. And, I love seeing it. Like I love watching all the guys, compete. It's catchy. Like the beam, it's catchy. They're winning. They're playing winning basketball. So, it's good for them.
I know even when we played there, it's a crazy amount of people there. They always pack it out, so I think it's a fun environment to play in. He's a phenomenal player. He can shoot it. He can do everything really. So he's very versatile. He's a great player. So
Kings fans know that I predicted that they'd be a playoff team. I was on NBA Today. I said it several times. I got laughed at. I got smirked at. I got rolled-eyed at. And I tried to tell them. I said this Kings team is going to be special. They have the ability to change. They have the ability to end the playoff streak. I said that. They got to prove me right now. They've been proving me right so far. But, yeah, I went on a limb for the Kings. I predicted it because, not to be nice, but because I really thought that this is a team that could do something. And here we are. You don't even want to do play-in, man. Like, you want to play off. You want to clinch a spot. And I'm sure entering the season, there are probably several Kings fans or a lot of Kings fans that have been like, look, if we could just get in the play-in, I'd be excited about that. But I think the stakes have raised. They want playoffs. They want home court. They're in the third spot last time I checked. Like, it's there. It's a sprint now. This isn't the midpoint of the season. It's like 23 games left. So they got to finish it up and solidify their spot. It's just stay in the top six. Stay out of play-in, and I think they have the ability to do that. I mean, Phoenix is going to keep rising now that KD's about to join. But let's see what Golden State does, and I don't know if they're going to move up. I don't know that the Lakers are going to move up. The Clippers are going to move up. But the thing is, if they could just stay in the top six, they've won enough game. They got a little bit of, I guess you could say, room for error a little bit, but they could do it. They could stay in the top six, and I don't know what I'm going to be doing that day, but if they clinch it in Sacramento, I got to be there. Forget the first home playoff game. It's clinching it. It's making it. I expect an emotional moment with tears. The Sacramento fans have gone through a lot, and if they make it, I mean, it's going to be pandemonium in Sacramento. They might climb up the beam.
So after we chatted with all of them, they took the floor for practice, and we basically got to just sit there and watch. And I whipped out the camera and recorded a little bit of practice, including I watched Josh Giddey hit 2 half-court shots in a row. I watched a 3-point contest between different members of Keegan Murray's team, POW. Keegan Murray's team typically won those 3-point contests, as you might be watching here on your screen if you're watching on YouTube. But it was really fun to experience that, kind of the low-key, festive, kind of fun atmosphere. I realized there pretty quickly that Keegan Murray was not actually going to be starting for Team POW because he was not initially out there involved in the very light drills and walkthroughs that Team POW's coaching staff was putting them through. But still, it was really fun to experience. And that's the thing, is very similar to Summer League. All-Star Weekend it's low-key in the sense that it's relaxed, it's fun, it's celebrating basketball, celebrating the accomplishments of all these players who have made it this far, and the legacies of even superstars and legends in this game, which was really cool. I also got to attend late, and I'll tell you about this in the next segment. I got to attend the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame finalists press conference here at Vivint Arena before the Rising Stars Challenge, which is really cool to experience as well. Again, I'll tell you more about that here in just a second, but to be able to experience practice and to watch it and see these players interact with each other. Now, All-Star Weekend is a big deal. It's not low-key in the amount of people involved, in the amount of money, and amount of production, and it's really cool to see. I know it probably translates better over television than it does over if you're here in person, but if you get the chance ever, whether it's hopefully one day in Sacramento or wherever it is in the world, if you get the chance to come and experience All-Star, I highly encourage you to do it, just to be around kind of this festive basketball atmosphere. Also, if you get the chance to go to Summer League too, it's also a great place to kind of experience that low-key, festive, celebrate basketball atmosphere. Highly encourage that. So like I mentioned earlier, got to experience a Hall of Fame press conference, and it was pretty cool sitting in the same room as a number of finalists for the 2023 class. We won't find out until April, I think, during the Final Four in March Madness, who actually will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But amongst the finalists were Pau Gasol, Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Tony Parker, and one of the finalists for the Media Award was Mark J. Spears. So what I'm going to play for you here is a clip where it's Dwayne Wade and Pau Gasol all speaking about kind of their legacies and being named a finalist for the Hall of Fame, and then a clip of Mark Spears being asked like what the game has done for him, and he actually gets pretty emotional. I thought it was a pretty cool clip, so check it out.
A young Dwayne Wade, never thought that this moment would be here. Sometimes when you're young and you have a dream, a lot of people don't believe in your dream. It seems so far-fetched, but I've always been a dreamer. But I would be lying to you guys if I would say that I didn't want to quit on that dream many, many times, but I didn't. And so to be here, I've had many nights throughout this journey where I envisioned having that orange jacket. And so I'm one step closer.
I definitely had a dream of playing in the NBA. That 92 Olympic team that came to Barcelona touched many kids' life of my generation. So I was like, wow, these guys are incredible. I want to do that, But, it's all, as Kobe said at one point, it's really about the journey. These type of recognitions, which are an amazing honor, they come along when you do things very, very well for a long time. And when you love what you do, and I'm just privileged to have done playing the game for so long at a high level with an amazing people that have taught me so much, and I learned so much, and have amazing competitors as well as D. Wade here today, and some of those finalists, and TP and Dirk.
Can you describe what the game has meant to your life?
It's allowed me to see the world, allowed me to get in here,
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You never know these things.
All right, so here's what's on the docket tomorrow. Today was a extremely busy day. Tomorrow is chaos. It starts with us going back to the University of Utah. We're going to talk to Kevin Huerter and the other competitors in All-Star Saturday Night's challenges, three-point contest skills challenge. Yeah, we'll see Tyrese. We'll see Buddy Hield. Hopefully get the opportunity to talk to both of them. And then after that, we will wait for the media availability for the West and East All-Stars, which means De'Aaron Fox, of course, Domantas Sabonis, of course. We'll talk to the two of them. And I'm hoping to talk to as many All-Stars as I can to get their opinions on Fox and Sabonis, get their opinions on the Kings, get their opinions on the Beam. After that, we get to watch their practice, similar to the Rising Stars practice. And then we head to Vivint Arena because Commissioner Adam Silver is doing a press conference. If there's an opportunity to ask questions, Kevin and I are going to try and sneak in a question about the Beam to Commissioner Silver and see what he has to say about the Beam. It would be pretty cool to hear his thoughts on that trend that's taken over the NBA. So we'll do our best to get him to speak on that. But and then, of course, it all wraps up with All-Star Saturday Night, where hopefully we will watch Kevin Huerter win the three-point contest. I think he has a really, really good shot. So if you follow me on Twitter, @MattGeorgeSack, you can find the videos that I posted, all the videos from today, many of which you just heard on this podcast, but there's some more. You can see kind of behind-the-scenes footage and behind-the-scenes photos and things like that of my experience here. I'm also planning on, if I get to it, I've taken a lot of footage. I'm planning on trying to do like a behind-the-scenes kind of documentary style, what it's like to experience All-Star Weekend, like one big video that I'll release on the Locked On Kings YouTube channel. Hopefully, I end up pulling the trigger on that and don't bow out of that with the amount of stuff that I have to do this weekend, but I would love to do it. Let me know if that's something that you really, really would want to see. And then I'll have all the videos from all the All-Stars and Kevin Huerter and the All-Star Skills Challenge and three-point contest competitors and everything, dunk contest competitors. That'll all be out on my Twitter as well. And then join me for another podcast. It'll be a All-Star Saturday Night post-game podcast. Probably another low-key thing like this. I'm just really enjoying being out here. I want to make sure I can share that experience with you as much as possible. I appreciate your support. All of you that have sent me the great messages, like telling me to enjoy myself and that I deserve this. Like that means the world to me to get this opportunity and to have your support. And again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. This opportunity does not happen without the support that you've shown the Locked On Kings podcast and ABC 10 content, not just this year, but over the last, ABC 10 over the last year that I've been there, but Locked On Kings for almost the last 6 years. It'll be 6 years in March that I've been hosting the Locked On Kings podcast, which is pretty incredible. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you for joining me, and I can't wait to have you join me on All-Star Saturday night. Until then, my name is Matt George. You've been listening to Locked On Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.